If you've got an extremely average projector, a spare wall, and far too much time on your hands, then watch on, because you too could be fumbling around in the dark with a paintbrush. So this is my little studio, and recently I've changed it from this bright orange colour to a black. But by going black, it kind of left a blank canvas on this back wall. And I thought, well, you know, I hate painting, so why not do a bit more of it? And that's when I decided to put this studio logo on the back wall using the projector. So the projector itself, I've had for years. I think it was only about 65 quid when I got it new. Probably don't even make this model anymore. Obviously, the better quality projector you have, the bigger you could get your designs, probably the sharper the focus you can get on them possibly. I don't know what I'm talking about with projectors. This is just what I had. But it was cheap, so you can get away with a lot, I think. When I first opened back in 2012, I designed this logo that was to go onto CDs and CD covers, just for, you know, giving projects back to customers. But because of kind of the retro look of it, I thought that would look really nice on the breeze block. So the first thing I did was made a few adjustments to the original design, simplified a couple of things, made a few things a little bit bigger because I thought if it's too small and intricate, it wouldn't really come off, or I wouldn't have the ability to paint it. So let's talk about some mistakes I made straight away. First of all, as soon as I put the paintbrush in the paint, I realised it's possibly the thinnest paint that's ever been made. It was just stuff that I had kicking about in the cupboard, and if I'd have taken 2 minutes out of my stupid life, then I would have known that. And I'm pretty sure that if you used a decent paint from the offset, you might be able to get away with one coat. Because one thing you don't want to be doing, especially if it's an intricate design, is trying to go over your design again. So use decent paint if you can. Next of all, brushes. I used pretty much, I think it was a 1-inch brush for the whole of this design. And again, because I was overconfident, I thought, be okay, just use it. But then when it came to the finer details, I didn't have anything that I could use. And you'll see a bit later on how I overcame that. But my advice would be just get a range of brushes, from smaller artistic ones for your details up to a larger one if you're just wanting to like cover a large surface, obviously. The other mistake I made was thinking I could somehow do this design without using any masking tape. So especially on the long arcing lines and the straight edges, you know, if I'd have just masked up from the beginning, I could have saved myself so much more time. But you'll see later on, I went back over and masked up, and it really cut out so much time and made the end product so much better. So yeah, mask up where you can. So you can see I've got that light on in the corner there, and you might think, why don't you have it as dark as possible to help the projector out? And sometimes that was the case. Sometimes I would knock the lights completely off. But it did help having that on, because without it, you can't see the end of your brush, especially against a black background. I was really struggling at times to see where the end of the brush was. So having a little bit of light, just so you can see the end of the brush and when the brush is going to touch the wall, that really helped. Right, this banner section with the smaller font was a nightmare. I should have taped it up from the start. It would have made life so much easier. I would have got a much better result from the get-go. And this lettering, again, in the design, I probably should have made it a bit thicker just to make my life easier. I think it would have looked just as good, and it would have made my life so much easier. So if you can tweak it, if you use Photoshop, then why not? And like watching it back, it doesn't look as bad as I remember. But yeah, at the end of the day, when I turned the lights back on, I could just see that the lines weren't straight and that the letters weren't even. And these little stars, yet again, thinking I could just freehand it, even though I've got literally zero artistic painting experience on this scale. Anyways, that was kind of the end of day one. I tried putting a bit of a second coat on. It wasn't making any difference with the oat milk that I was painting with. So yeah, I thought I'd leave it, see how it sets, and pick it back up the next day. So day 2 started off much better because my dad managed to find us some pinstripe tape. I've never used pinstripe tape before, and he had it from when he was painting his Harley Davidson. So if you've not used it before, it's kind of like, unlike masking tape, which is more like paper and folds in on itself if you try and bend it in a circle or something or on an arc. This stuff, you can actually stretch a little bit and you can turn it. So ideal for like those long arcs that I was trying to get. Honestly, if I could have done this on day 1 with a better paint, I could have done it in half the time. So here I'm just using this little spatula type tool. What do you call these things? Is it a scraper? I don't know. To get some straight lines for this lettering. And speaking of better paint, I brought some thicker paint from home that I had kicking about. I definitely could have done 1 coat if I had this stuff from the start. So you can see here, once I had that taped up, I could just lash this new paint on. Wasn't even particularly worried about how much I was putting on. Just getting it on there nice and thick, making sure I was covering all my previous mistakes. And look at that reveal. Only took me 2 days to get to this point. What would have taken anyone else half a day took me 3 times longer. Fantastic. So then it was just a case of putting this second coat on and doing a few touch-ups here and there. But one thing that I had to sort out was a smaller brush to get those details, because I didn't want to have to use that 1-inch brush again for the lettering. And because I didn't have a smaller brush, that's when I had to improvise and came up with this absolutely genius technique of cutting some bristles off a brush I wasn't using, sticking them into a pen lid, and then wedging the pen in to keep the bristles in place. Then I wrapped a load of masking tape around it to hold it all in place, and as backwards as that is, it worked a treat. Also, just watching myself back here, I've got no arse to speak of at all. There really is nothing there, is there? Just straight up into the back. But yes, if you're fancying doing this yourself, just wire in. And at the end of the day, it's paint. You can paint over it. So just crack on and have a great time. Hey, cheers for watching. By all means, if you want to leave me dog's abuse in the comments, I actively encourage it. Tell us where I went wrong. And if there's anything that you want to ask, as you can see, I've got lots of time on my hands, so I will get back to you. And I'll see you on the next one.